The Married Bachelor. In the heart of Lagos, where the hustle of city life intertwines with the rhythm of 1,000 different stories, there was a man named Chijioke Okafor. To many, he was the embodiment of success, a businessman who owned a chain of popular restaurants, a father to three beautiful children, and a husband to Nkechi, the woman he had married years ago. But beneath the layers of this facade, Chijioke was a man at war with himself, trapped in a web of lies and deceit. Chijioke had always been a charmer, the kind of man who could light up a room with his smile and his magnetic presence. His confidence, however, was more than just an aura. It was a tool he wielded to manipulate and seduce. He was the kind of man who never went to bed without his phone buzzing with messages from women, some old flames, some new ones, but all equally smitten by his silver tongue. He had perfected the art of leading a double life, and no one was the wiser. Not his wife, not his children, and certainly not the friends who celebrated him as the perfect family man. But all that changed one evening. Nkechi had always trusted her husband, despite his long hours at work and his frequent trips out of town. She believed he was working hard for the family's future. He had always promised her a good life, and for years he kept her and their children in the lap of luxury. But slowly, the cracks began to show. The late nights, the unexplained phone calls, and the way his behavior shifted whenever she asked about his whereabouts. It didn't sit right with her. One night, Nkechi returned home early from a women's meeting at church. She had always been a woman of strong faith and had recently felt an unease in her spirit. As she walked through the door, she noticed Chijioke's phone lying on the kitchen counter. He was in the shower and the screen flashed with a text message. "Can't wait to see you tonight, babe." The name attached to the message was unfamiliar. Lillian. Her heart sank. She knew she had known for months, perhaps even years, but now the evidence was staring her in the face. That was the night everything came crashing down. She confronted Chijioke when he stepped out of the shower. The guilt was written all over his face, and he couldn't even look her in the eye. "I can explain, Nkechi," he said, but she wasn't listening. The woman who had stood by his side through thick and thin now felt the weight of betrayal and the crushing pain of years of lies. That was the beginning of the end. Nkechi packed her bags, taking her children with her. She was done. The man she had loved and trusted had been living a lie, indulging in a lifestyle that she could no longer turn a blind eye to. She couldn't keep her children in such an environment, one tainted by infidelity and deceit. A few weeks later, after a bitter and public divorce, Nkechi moved to Canada with their three children. She built a new life for herself, one free of the suffocating chains that Chijioke had bound her with. She enrolled the children in a good school, found a job, and slowly began to heal. In time, she even found a new circle of friends and a sense of peace she hadn't known in years. Meanwhile, Chijioke was left in Lagos, a man broken by his own actions. He had lost the woman he loved, and his children were now miles away. But even in his misery, his old habits didn't die. His life, though fractured, continued in the same reckless pattern. The bachelor lifestyle he had once enjoyed in secret now became his reality. He lived from one affair to the next, always seeking solace in the arms of a woman, but finding none. He spent his days drowning in regret and his nights in the company of women who only fueled the emptiness he couldn't escape. His business began to suffer, his reputation tainted by whispers of his personal life, but he couldn't stop. He needed the thrill of the chase, the attention, the validation that only came from someone new, someone who didn't know the man he had become. Yet, in the quiet moments, when the crowds were gone and the lights dimmed, Chijioke would find himself thinking of Nkechi, the woman he had destroyed. He missed her laughter, her strength, the way she had once supported him through every challenge. He missed his children, though he hardly ever saw them now. He had tried reaching out to them, but the distance, both physical and emotional, was too great. They had moved on, and he had become a stranger. Months later, Chijioke received an unexpected message. It was from Nkechi. She had heard about his failing business and his continued infidelities from mutual friends. But the message wasn't filled with anger or judgment. It was a simple request. For the sake of our children, let's talk. They need to see you again. Chijioke's heart raced. The possibility of seeing his children again, of perhaps rebuilding some semblance of his former life, brought him a glimmer of hope. But he also knew that nothing would ever be the same. He had lost too much, and the damage was too deep. His life, once so full of promise, had now become a lonely road of regrets and what ifs. As he sat in his office one evening, staring at the message, he realized something profound. He had lived as a bachelor, even while married, and in doing so, he had lost everything that truly mattered. Now, all that was left was the man he had become, a man who had everything but was truly nothing at all.